Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Chasing Rabbits. Not chasing cats, chasing rabbits. My name is Scott Brown. You found my blog dedicated to helping you become the leader you always wished that you had worked for. So I want to step back a little bit, a couple stories from the past that I think are very relevant for tonight's message. 11 years ago, or 12 years ago now, I guess, so 2008, shockingly enough, I ran the Disney Marathon. Yes, 26.2 miles. I ran the Disney Marathon. I didn't run the whole thing, but I finished the Disney Marathon in under 6 hours. I still think it's one of the best things I ever did, one of the biggest accomplishments I've ever had physically, to be able to run a marathon. When you look at me today, you look at me and go, no. But there was less of me back then. Not a lot less of me, but still enough less of me that I ran the Disney Marathon. Along the way to getting ready for the Disney Marathon, I ran a bunch of half marathons, I ran a bunch of 10Ks and 5Ks. I ran a lot. But while I ran, I always focused not on how fast I was going, how far I was going. I measured those things, but what my real focus was upon the journey itself. I was always focused upon stopping to smell the roses. Like in the middle of a run, if I saw something that really captured my attention, I would stop and look at it. I would stop and smell the flowers. I would stop and experience the things that were along my route, headed towards where I was trying to go. My goal was to run a marathon, but my goal wasn't just to finish the marathon. My goal was to create a healthier lifestyle, which for a while held up, but life happened and that's clearly went away. Well, my goal really was to experience life in a different way during that time. And it worked. I certainly found the process exceptionally rewarding, and I loved every moment of it, including running the race. I thought it was a fantastic experience running the Disney Marathon. Fast forward a few years, and I joined Toastmasters, became actively involved, ended up starting to compete in contests. I turned into my district's version of Susan Lucci. Always in second place, never the winner. I made the final 6 times before I finally won a first place trophy. But along that way, I lost in the division final round a couple of times. I lost in the area division final a couple of times. I lost in different places, but I always learned as I went. I can't say that I was a gracious loser, though. There were times that I lost a contest, and for one reason or another, whether it was because I really felt that the judges got it wrong, because I thought I did something that I should not have done that day, I let myself down. A number of different reasons. There were times that I would walk out and throw my trophy into the trash can on the way out of the venue because I didn't even want to look at it. I didn't want that to be a reminder at all. I didn't want it to be an artifact for that failure because I didn't grasp the magnitude of what I was doing along the way. A couple of things happened towards the end of my competition career. One of the last times I competed in Orlando, I was reusing a speech that I had used in previous years. I had honed it a little bit differently. I reformatted it. It was still the same basic story about turning the page. So a lot of folks knew me for this turn the page concept that I used a lot within my speeches, within my stories. I went and practiced it. One of the places I practiced it, a gentleman in the audience who I knew, I wasn't friends with him, but I certainly knew him, and I knew the folks that were around him. He recorded me as I presented that day. Nothing all that unusual about that. What was unusual, though, is he then gave that recording to his protege, and that protege ended up learning my speech almost word for word and presenting that speech at the same area contest in which I was competing. Yeah. I got to sit and listen to somebody giving my speech right in front of me. Then I had to decide, do I confront him there? Do I put the crowd, do I put everybody who was there to watch the contest, put them into an awkward situation, or put the judges into an awkward situation? Or do I go ahead and give a different speech? I went ahead and I gave a different speech. I gave a contest speech kind of off the cuff, weaving together some things that I had talked about before. Came in second that day. The guy who stole my speech won. He ended up losing in the next round. Here's where these two things tie together. If we are focused as leaders on winning, if we are focused on leaders on that formality of the game that we're playing, if we are focused just on the win and the loss, then we will do things like steal somebody else's work and present it as our own. We will do things like take credit for what others have done in order to make ourselves feel better. And we will miss the opportunity to grow along the way, stop and smell the roses, and expand your journey. And here's where I think the important part of leadership really comes in. At the end of running a marathon, at the end of the International Speech Contest, there's always a next day. There's always something new. There's always something else you're going to be trying to do. It's not over at that point. That's just an intermediate stop. I heard one of my friends, one of my Toastmasters friends, his name is Darren LaCroix, won the World Championship of Public Speaking, like 2001, I believe. It's been a few years since he won. I still follow him religiously. I think he's a fantastic human, a really good speaker, very entertaining. Sage Time University, I think, is a great value. He does a lot of good work. But he has a video challenge out now, a 77-day video challenge, whereas mine's 365, a little bit longer. His video challenge is based upon, he is looking back on what he's done, and he found himself to become complacent, that just because he won a trophy, he doesn't want that to define his future. He wants to always be on the way. That was just a stop along the way to wherever it is he is going. He's now written a manuscript for a movie. He's written a movie, and he's trying to get that out there into the world. That's his next part of his journey. When he won the big trophy, that for a while defined him. But he realized that winning isn't about the trophy. Winning is about what you experience along the way. If you win a trophy, but you haven't earned that trophy, you haven't grown in the process, you haven't actually won. All you've done is just earn a trophy. All you've done is just gather a memento of something that you didn't really do. And I think that we as leaders sometimes, we tend to get focused on those end results, those measurements, those trophy moments, those finish line moments, those accolades that we're trying to gather from others. We get so focused on that external type of reward that we forget about the intrinsic rewards we get for the journey itself. Leadership is about drawing those internal intrinsic rewards out of both ourselves and those around us to help everybody within our circle, everyone on that quest with us, to get better, to do better, to be better. It's not about the end result, because wherever you get to, there's going to be a tomorrow. There's going to be a next step. So I want you to think about, along your journey, are you hyper-focused on that reward, on that trophy, on that number? Are you super focused on what you're earning at the end, or are you more focused upon what you're learning along the way to get there? Because there's always going to be a tomorrow, and tomorrow can be significantly better than today if you're not so focused on that trophy at the end of the road. So until tomorrow, my friends, I wish you well. I wish you a happy journey. Toast on, and I will see you tomorrow for another edition of Chasing Rabbits. Take care, my friends.